I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. Hello everybody, my name is Peter Wiggin. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the Politico hit piece railing against these young Republicans. A man by the name of Gavin Wax leaked up to 28,000 messages that had gone on in this group text over the course of the past 7 months. And they're reaping the rewards from this. This guy, this whistleblower, I don't know if you call him that, this leaker, this traitor, has released these texts to the mainstream media, and they're being covered here exclusively on Politico. I'm not going to go through the whole article. There's a couple sections I want to highlight, and then I want to chat about a few things. But, you know, you can go. This article is everywhere. You can go find it if you want to read through the whole thing. So starting off, William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the words "NGA" and "NGA." G-U-H. I haven't seen that, honestly. Variations of a racial slur more than a dozen times in the chat. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans at the time, referred to rape as epic. Peter Junta, who at the time was chair of the same organization, wrote in a message sent in June that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Junta was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of the Young Republican National Federation, the GOP's 15,000-member political organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old. I'm going to create some of the greatest psychological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers, he continued. Let's go on to read some more of this stuff that Politico is highlighting. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job and another's job offer was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Rep. Elise Stefanik and State Senate Minority Leader Rob Ortt, have denounced the chat, and festering resentments among young Republicans have now turned into public recriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to take a little aside here and talk about the first claim that was introduced in that paragraph. It says, the chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. And I'm going to push back right here. I'm going to say no, actually. This offers an unfiltered look at how an entire generation of young men talk to each other. I'm a young man. I recently graduated high school. And I'm in many group chats alongside many of my friends as well. And they look a lot like this. In fact, they look worse. Out of the 28,000, 29,000 or so messages that were collected over the course of this 7-month, 8-month span, they found, it says later in the article, 251 epithets that they call them. Either the N-word, stuff like that, gay, retarded. They even use as one of those words that they consider an epithet. 251. That's less than 1% of the chats, man. If you go in my Snapchat group chat, which is called The Goons, by the way, you're going to find a lot more than that. And that's not just me. It's become a meme online. If you go on Instagram or if you scroll through Reels, you'll hear young men talking about, oh no, me and the boys in handcuffs and shackles with our ankles hooked together and a ball and chain dragging behind us as we are marched to our death sentence because our group chat got leaked. You'll see a post like that and it'll have 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 likes because it's so ubiquitous. This is how young men act. And there's a reason for that. This is a result of institutional pressure that is brought on young men over the course of since 2016 up to 2022, during COVID, during the cancellations of many prominent media figures, conservative pundits. Cancel culture was a thing. And young men grew up seeing that. I remember back in 2016, seeing people getting censored off the internet, seeing people getting railed for funny things they said, things that I thought were humorous. And do you know what that does to a young man? It makes them want to say it more. This is the new counterculture. Because young men have been growing up in an environment in which saying stuff like this, even as a joke, is looked down upon, frowned upon, and shunned, you'll be kicked out of polite society and removed from your job because of saying something in a group chat. That makes young men want to do it more. It's become the new cancel culture. Am I excusing everything they're saying? No. You know, this is a professional setting, I guess you could say. It's still a group chat, but you're with a lot of other young Republican leaders. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't care. I frankly don't care. Are they really calling for violence? Are these young Republicans calling for violence? Definitely, or action against their enemies? Against the Jews? Do they really want to burn everybody that doesn't vote for them? Definitely not. They're throwing witty banter at each other in attempts at shock humor and joking. This is a generational thing, hon. Sorry. If you look at the two authors of this publication, I'm sure there's a team of people behind it. It's like this middle-aged, Asian-looking lady and this gay-looking guy. I'm not throwing that around as an epithet. I'm just saying that's just an observation. It doesn't look like the audience that would be found in a group chat like this usually. Anyway, that's a little rant. That's a little aside. Let's keep on going. The 2,900 pages of chats shared among a dozen millennial and Gen Z Republicans between early January and mid-August. They were pumping out posts, golly, chronicle their campaign to seize control of the National Young Republican Organization on a hardline pro-Donald Trump platform. Many of the chat members already work inside government or party politics, and one serves as a state senator. Wow. Together, the messages reveal a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely, and where the Trump-era loosening of political norms has made such talk feel less taboo among those positioning themselves as the party's next leaders. The more the political atmosphere is open and liberating, like it has been with the emergence of Trump and a more right-wing GOP even before him, it opens up young people and older people to telling racist jokes, making racist commentaries in private and public. Joe Wiggin, a Texas A&M sociology professor who has studied racism for the last 60 years. What an expert. He's also concerned the words would be applied to public policy. It's chilling, of course, because they will act on these views. I love the language these people use. You can caricature them so well. They make it so easy to make fun of them. I love it. The dynamic of easy racism and casual cruelty played out in often dark, vivid fashion inside the chats where campaign talk and party gossip blurred into streams of slurs and violent fantasies. So I'm going to go back. Can you feel the rage boiling up inside of the words on this page? These people are angry. They want to destroy lives, and they have. They've gotten people fired. They've gotten people's jobs rescinded. But the second claim from this expert on racism, the sociology professor at Texas A&M, he says, the more the political atmosphere is open and liberating like it has been with the emergence of Trump and a more right-wing GOP even before him, it opens up young people and older people to telling racist jokes, making racist commentaries in private and public. What is that? The more the political atmosphere is open and liberating, what does that mean? I thought that was a good thing. Anyway, with that aside, he's a racism professor. He's not a writing professor. But what he's saying is, with the emergence of Donald Trump and a more right-wing GOP, people have become more racist. People have become more belligerent, more mean towards minorities and blacks and people of that sort and Jews. And what I'm going to say is that's frankly not true at all. This man acts as if Trump has been the root cause of this. But Trump is merely a symptom of the same impetus that led to the rise of edgy, bombastic, and unapologetic young men in the first place. I grew up in an area of Filthy Frank, of iDubbbz, of hair cake and stuff like that. I grew up in a time where you would say the N-word online as for fun. You would bleep it to make it a bit more edgy, but you'd say it, and because of the shock value that it had, people would laugh. It would be funny. And because it was the thing that you weren't supposed to do, that made it even more funny. It was a taboo. Again, like I said before, it was a counterculture. Not everybody's doing this. The institutions will get mad. My science teacher, if she heard me, my postmenopausal science teacher, who's 57 years old and white and lives in, her husband's like the mayor of the town or something like that. She lives in a white suburb. If she hears me say the N-word, she'll flip. Let's rage bait her. Let's make her a bit mad. It's funny. I'm just espousing the sentiment that is common among young men. I'm not saying that this is me personally, although you kind of get my drift, huh? But these young men, like me, have had insufferable postmenopausal women yelling at their faces from age 6. These men spent formative years locked inside their homes because of psychological breakdown of illogical leftists during COVID. The entire country was shut down. People were fired from their jobs. I was on Zoom. I was learning chemistry over Zoom. I had to teach myself because it was an ineffective mode of learning. Because of people freaking out over a virus and because there was this social contagion that was more pervasive than the actual contagion that was sweeping the nation and the world. People lost their minds. And young men like me saw that. And what we realized is we can't trust institutions, we can't trust the government, we can't trust academia, we can't trust scientists, we can't trust physicians. It tarnished our view of authority figures permanently. To this day, we laugh in the faces of the people in government that are espousing propaganda. We witness cancellations. We witness people like Gavin McInnes getting thrown out of polite society, Milo Yiannopoulos, people even like Jordan Peterson getting arraigned before Parliament in Canada and getting his license revoked and kicked out of Toronto University. That's stuff that we saw before our eyes. And subsequently, we saw Elon Musk buying X and reinstating people on the platform, and we saw that people with edgy, bombastic humor can have a voice, and the world doesn't explode, and minorities don't spontaneously combust when that happens. This reminds me, anyway, this is all I'm going to share from this political article. I'm going on a little tangent, a little rant here, but to back it up, this reminds me of the character assassinations in the cancellation campaigns from 2016 to 2022. And that's kind of disheartening, because since Elon Musk has bought Twitter, I felt like these have started to go away. I feel like these have been less common. I feel like people have been less afraid to share their thoughts online unfiltered. You have people like Nick Fuentes since January, when he was unbanned on Instagram, or at least reels of him were unbanned. You saw him come into prominence, and he almost has 1 million followers on X at this point. I thought that this stuff was going away. We thought woke was dead, right? Donald Trump was elected. He won all the swing states. He won the popular vote. It was a mandate. People were sick of the woke, of the policing of speech and action, of the pedantic nature of these insufferable people in academia and journalism. I thought this was over, but what this shows us is this is not going away. It's just merely under the surface. This is how these people act. This is how these people see the world. And whether this is just propaganda to destroy the lives of prominent right-wing and young leaders that are going to be the future of the GOP, which is a political strategy for sure, and I think that is a part of this. This is still instinctively how these people act. And it's going to blow up in their face, because what this is doing is radicalizing people more. This makes me want to give a big middle finger to the establishment and go off on some anti-Semitic speech. I'm not going to. But you get what I'm saying. And if I'm saying this, and if I'm feeling this sentiment, you know for a fact there are young men just like me all over the internet that are being pushed further and further right because of stuff like this. And that's unavoidable. And then lastly, I want to have a little footnote to talk about Gavin Wax. Gavin Wax is the alleged person who leaked these texts. Gavin Wax is the 76th president of the New York Young Republicans Club. And if it's true that Gavin Wax leaked these messages, betrayed all his friends, threw them under the bus, extorted them, blackmailed them for these posts, he should be ostracized from Republican politics indefinitely. If it's true that Gavin Wax was the person who leaked these texts to the Politico, he obviously did it for personal gain. He got paid off. He got some political clout because of it. First off, the question is who's paying him, but second, he can't and will never be able to be trusted again. Write his name down. Put him on a spreadsheet. Memorize his face. Whenever you see this kid's face pop up ever again, realize, hey, I'm not going to take him seriously. If he's going to betray his friends like that, I can't trust him with anything in politics. And for the foreseeable future, I think that should be the case. I think that is a reasonable reaction to this. But hopefully these kids land on their feet. And, it's not that deep. What happens in the group chat stays in the group chat. Again, I pray the Goons group chat on my Snapchat doesn't get leaked one day. I pray my Instagram chats with my friends don't get released to the public one day. I pray that the reels that I've saved on my Instagram page don't get released to the public one day. And I think that many other young men and young women, I'm sure, can sympathize with that sentiment. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my breakdown, feel free to leave a like, leave your comments comment your thoughts in the comments section. It boosts this in the algorithm, and I get to have a little friendly debate. I have no followers, I have 19 subscribers, and I love each of you. I will kiss you all individually on the forehead in a platonic manner. But if you leave a comment, I'm sure to see it. I will respond. And if I don't respond, you probably said something smart and outsmarted me. You probably beat me. So try to beat me in a debate. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. This has been Peter Wiggin. Adios.